All right, guys. I'm out here shed hunting today, and I want to touch on something that I found. To my north right here, as you can kind of see, there's a trail that goes into this little thick, overgrown area that's in between some fields. And there's a couple beds in there and some big tracks. But the interesting thing is the view you get from this little bedding area, where when the snow's on the ground like this and it's muddy and I can see where the deer have been, you could see that he has a perfect view. Whatever deer's in there, buck or doe, has a perfect view of our barns and the farmstead. And my truck is actually parked right there. And usually we'll either park right there or we'll park across the street over on that side. But regardless, whatever deer is bedding in here in the afternoon during the day is watching us walk in on every single hunt that we access this north side. It's a perfect location, and it just makes you wonder how many times we walked by deer this year. Even our shooter bucks that might have been bedded within 20 to 30 yards of the path we're walking in, and they never even move. And they probably just wait till dark, wait till we walk back out, and then go on their merry way. We've done some deer drives out of this little bedding area in the past, and we've pushed a couple mature bucks out of there, so we know they use it. I haven't really ran any trail cameras in there the last 2 years, but I have in the past, and there was a buck we call Senior that really used to use this bedding area back when he was on the farm. And it's kind of hard to hunt. It's not impossible, but it's a nice little sanctuary that we kind of just leave alone. If we really wanted to kill a buck out of it, we probably could set some stands up to try to ambush them coming in and out, but they basically know we're here before we do. So just those things you find in the off season while scouting. Interesting little tidbit, but always check out those bedding areas that are real close to where you park your truck. So I just found a perfect buck bed. We got this trail that comes down off this ridge. Right here is this giant buck bed, and it's a little bit elevated over this river bottom. Another trail that goes down that way, but no antlers laying in it, which I would have thought for sure if this was a shed buck or this was a mature buck that he would have dropped his antlers there, because he spent a lot of time in this bed right here. But I'm gonna have to circle around this area a couple times because those antlers might not be far. All right, guys, we've probably done a little over, I'd say we're probably at 3.5 miles right now today. Me, Isaac, and Matt. We haven't found any sheds yet, and I'm not exactly even sure where Matt and Isaac are, but I'm standing in what I would have thought very large bed right here with just a perfect view of all the fields, any south wind, they can smell anything, any northeast wind or northwest wind, which is that direction, covers the entire woods. This right here is another elevated, just absolutely perfect bed. Has a water source right by it. All the food out there, I mean, food plots right over there. This spot right here, I mean, this is perfect bed, but no antlers. So we're gonna keep looking. All right, so today, shed hunting some public land by our farm, and a lot of people dog on public land because there's a lot of other hunters and you run into guys and you act like it'd be hard to find sign, and it's not ideal compared to private land. But I'm over here next to a pond. There's a nice good pond back there, and look at the size of that scrape. Low hanging branches and just a monster, huge community scrape, giant. And this might be a spot where I'll run a trail camera, a cheap trail camera next year, just to see what's coming through here, because obviously some deer are using it, even if it's at night. It's actually a nice little pinch between two open areas, so I really like this spot. All right, guys, March 19th, still here at the public land, and finding some good sign. I haven't really found much besides that big scrape that I talked about earlier, and not a lot of rubs at all until I started moving into some of the thicker areas that I found on the maps. I'm using the Hunt Stand app, and once I found the thick areas, I started finding deer signs. So hopefully there's a bone in here. another public land update. Still haven't found a shed, and I'm right around the 5-mile mark, between 5 and 6 miles. But the sign is getting even better. I mean, that right there is a serious rub. And that's about the 4th one I found that looks like that. That cornfield that I showed earlier by that oak flat, I'm farther down now, probably 1/4 mile down that field edge in a big swamp. And there's some deer leaving some sign in here for sure. I've definitely found more sign on this side of the area than I did when I first started. So we're gonna keep walking, and hopefully I can find one of these guys' antlers. Well, February 25th today. Doing another quick walk, and found my first dead deer of the year. Fresh dead deer. Probably found 7 or 8 bones. Piles of bones are old, but this is a fresh doe. Can't tell what happened, but she's dead out here in this open field, so she'll be food for the coyotes. No antlers on that. So one of the things I really do when I'm out here shed hunting in the spring is I always keep an eye out for piles of bones, because every year, as most deer hunters know, we have deer that either disappear or we had some situations where we wounded some bucks that we never found in the past. So every time I find a pile of bones in the woods in a new spot, I get excited, because there's a chance it's one of those missing bucks and we can put some closure to it. Kind of like we did with Goofy this year at Nick and Tyler's property. We finally got some closure after all those years. Well, today, like I do every time I'm shed hunting, stumble across a pile of bones in a spot that I had never been, or had never found a pile of bones before. So I started looking around for a head just to see if maybe it's a good buck, and it's a buck I recognize. And I found the head, and it's not a buck I recognize, because it's a button. That's the second button buck I found this year. So unfortunately, no closure for what I was hoping was broken tine. Buck that Matt shot in 2017, and we never found. So somewhere back here, one day, I will find the remains of that deer, I believe.